Setting up and establishing a distillery when there are more whiskey barrels in the state of Kentucky than there are people has got to be one of the most ambitious gambles that we've seen in WhiskeyTube yet. But that's exactly what Brewzle, TJ Gamble's trying to do. And this is how he intends to help pay for it. This is the Oak Bowery Cask Strength. Hi everyone, welcome to Highly Allocated Problems. My name's Jeff, and I am really excited to give this Oak Bowery first release a try. I saw this video and I immediately, and I mean as soon as he said that they were available, I went and bought a couple of them. I have two of them, one just to try and sample, and another to save for a rainy day. You never know. Maybe I'll have Brewzle sign it someday if I get to meet him. Maybe I'll get big enough that I can collaborate with him. You never know what the possibilities are on YouTube today. Regardless, I am excited for this. This is a 4-grain mash bill. Now, it's not simple as that. It's not just your normal 4-grain. This is 1,000 gallons of bourbon and whiskey mixed together, blended together, and it is 5 different whiskeys blended together. It is 285 gallons of 80% corn, 10% rye, 10% malted barley. That is 5 years old. It is then another 285 gallons of 78% corn, 14% rye, 8% malted barley at 5 years old, and then 143 gallons at 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley at 4.5 years old, another 143 gallons of 70% corn, 16% wheat, 14% malted barley at 4.5 years old, and to finish it off, it is another 143 gallons of 60% corn, 30% wheat, and 10% malted barley at 7 years old. And that averages out to 5.2 years. So this is about a 5-year-old blend. So let's get it cracked open into the Glen and see how it fares. Not the most terrific pork pop, but that's okay. All right, I have to say, before I get this on the nose and give it a try, I am super excited for Brewzle, for TJ, for this. This is super, super ambitious. To be opening a distillery in Alabama of all places. I mean, it's obviously he's from Alabama, so that makes sense. But to be opening in Alabama and opening a distillery when we're at a time in whiskey and bourbon that there are more barrels of bourbon aging in the state of Kentucky than there are people living there. That is wild. And all that's gonna have to go somewhere, and it's gonna be difficult to compete with those kinds of offerings when they're gonna be able to put out tons and tons of age-stated stuff, especially a bunch of unique stuff from those, legacy distilleries at price points that, let's be honest, that TJ probably can't match. So he's really going to have to depend on his following to get this kind of across the line. And so far he's doing it. 1,000 gallons comes out to about 5,000 bottles. He's sold them all at $75 a bottle, and that comes out to $375,000. And he's already said he's going to use that to kind of help get the building he wants to purchased and get that bought, kind of do all the rest of the modifications he may need to do, as well as get the rest of the equipment up and running so that they can start distilling at Oak Bowery in Alabama. Now, I hope he's got a really good relationship with Seth Detling, because Detling's kind of already the man in Alabama. So this should be an interesting fight. I know we're all in it for the same reasons. We just want to see good whiskey, and I'm sure that Seth is also supportive of Brewzle. So I'm excited for this. I'm super excited for Brewzle himself. I hope this is really good, and I hope this is just the beginning and that there's more great things to come. So let's get it on the nose and see what we find out here. Okay, on the very first sniff of this, getting some just really basic notes on the nose. Oak, a little bit of vanilla, maybe a little bit of sweetness, which may be the oak, but it could be just a light fruitiness. It's hard to tell. Not a super complicated nose, but then again, I don't know that this is a super complicated blend either, other than the, you know, variety of mash bills. It's not super complicated on the nose, which it's still pleasant, but it's not like, oh gosh, I need to smell this forever or anything like that. It's not one of those. So take that with a grain of salt. Let's get this onto the palate. Now, I was a little disappointed with TJ and his own review of his own offering. I mean, he literally offered only up that it tastes like graham cracker and then some light butterscotch and toffee. You have 3 tasting notes. And I know you were in the middle of a video, and if you were trying to sell something, obviously it worked anyways, people bought it, but you need to give people a little bit more enticing of an offering there than just graham cracker, butterscotch, and toffee, because there's got to be more to it. Or maybe there's not. I'll let you know. First sip. Cheers to you, Brewzle. Congratulations and good luck. All right, I know exactly what he's saying when you say you get that graham cracker and then you get into that light toffee and butterscotch. Completely understand there. However, there's also some like marshmallow and maybe even like toasted marshmallow. That caramel even tastes a little bit burnt, that burnt caramel. Like there's like just caramel. I don't know if I would say it's butterscotch. I get caramel and it's more burnt caramel. It's almost like that burnt caramel plus a caramel drizzle on top of marshmallow fluff sandwiched into a graham cracker. And that's pretty accurate. I don't get necessarily toffee. You know, toffee is a very sugary sweet, very sugary sweet. The caramel, I think, is a little bit more mellow and deeper, and so that's the kind of flavor that I go straight to in this. Maybe I'd like to see on the second sip if maybe I get some fruity flavors or anything alternate than the primary flavors. On the extended finish, I do get a little bit of vanilla, which is very pleasant. Second sip. Okay, here's the thing. On the second sip, there's tons of fruits going on. There's like apples, some raspberries, with some vanilla, and then you get a little bit of the more mellow, and I think that's where the caramel's coming through. Less marshmallow, kind of that sugary sweet, less of that, more of the fruit sweet. And then there's that, definitely that like honey graham cracker kind of finish that's happening last this time. It's very, very pleasant, but there's definitely more going on than just graham cracker and butterscotch toffee. There's plenty of fruit. Like I said, apple, raspberry. It's very, very pleasant. Very, very pleasant. I'm going to say that this is better than I expected. Way better than I expected. I was a little concerned when I saw some of the lower age stuff, the 4.5 year kind of age stated stuff, along with those younger distillates that were inside of here, were also the higher kind of corn mash bill as well. So I'm pleasantly surprised. Not a lot of astringency whatsoever. The oak is sweet. I would love to get something that's, kind of cask strength. I would love to get a little bit more barrel char or something out of it. Get that smoky barrel char. Like like we're campfire plus that marshmallow, butterscotch, caramel, vanilla. Like there's an opportunity there for the next batch to really hit it home. I don't know which distillate that would be, or maybe this is just the way that the North Carolina distillate is. Who knows? I'm not a pro in that. He is. But from a drinking standpoint, an experience standpoint, it's a pleasant pour. It's not, otherworldly, or it's not going to change your life. But you can see the potential that if this is what he intends to release in the second release, how he can expand upon it. I honestly think maybe he can look at doing less in the mash bills, maybe a smaller batch with less variance in mash bills, Maybe that has to do with the fact that he wanted to get the 1,000 gallons and get the number of bottles that he needed to get the number. Because this ultimately is just a giant fundraiser, right? Which is absolutely fine. He's fairly transparent about it. Not a big deal. But I think maybe if the next batch is toned down a little bit, he's got the initial money, next batch a little bit more focused on complexity of flavors rather than getting the volume of bottles that he needs. I would like just to see that from from an experience of, as a consumer, I would like to see something a little bit more elevated. And that's just a request. It's not a demand. It's just what I'd like to see. But it's pretty good. I'm not going to knock it and say like, oh, this is just a money grab. It's definitely, I would say, worth probably, I'd say it's probably close to that $70 range. It's probably $55 or so, but Brewzle's got to make some money, so it's okay. I'm going to give him a pass. But I think from a standpoint of, is it pretty good value for the money that you paid? Yeah. I hope you bought multiple bottles so that $15 shipping went a little bit further for you. But for the most part, I'd say it's a pretty good pour. And I could recommend that if another one comes out, you should pick it up. I hope more people can get their hands on it. More people can support Brewzle. I really, really hope that he can pull this off. It's super ambitious, given the environment that the whole whiskey market is in. But I certainly support the hell out of him. Man, he's the one that got me into bourbon in the first place, and I love him for it. So I hope he does well. So congratulations to Brewzle TJ Gamble on this release. It's not a banger, but you certainly got the job done, and I'm looking forward to your second release. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, at 2,000 subscribers, we are giving away a Russell's Reserve 13 Batch 6, an Eagle Rear 12, or your choice of a Stag 26A or 25D. If you're a subscriber and you win, you get the choice of any one of those bottles. So subscribe today, it's free, and you can only win by doing so. So I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later. See ya.